So hello there. So let us discuss about the concept of settlement of international disputes. Okay, right. So before we discuss the concept of international disputes per se, let's let's just recall, or let's just recap. Okay, or just to internalize, how does conflict how does conflict start. Okay, so we have this conflict spiral. If you're going to look at it, okay, this is usual even in ordinary life. This is sometimes the problem, di ba? Mapapansin nyo to. Well, these things in ordinary life, you can also consider this as also significant with regards to international relations, di ba? So paano ba nagsisimula ang problema? So of course meron kang problema, di ba? Meron kang problem, then siyempre do'n sa problem na 'yon, kailangan mo labanan yung problema, 'di ba? 'Yun yung ano diyan, yun yung issue diyan, 'di ba? Kailangan mo labanan yung problema. Problem is, siyempre actually if we can recall, 'di ba, most of the time, ang problems naman, it usually happens because there is a failure to communicate. Ba't minsan nagkakaroon ng failure to communicate? Kasi there are times that of course, if you're going to look at it, di ba, even in an personal level or a macro state-to-state level, di ba, meron kasing defensiveness or opposition ka kasi may hinihingi ka di ba? Example na lang, one good example, 'di ba, Ukraine versus Russia. Gusto ng Russia kunin yung ibang teritoryo, 'di ba? Syempre Ukraine ayaw naman nilang pumayag na kunin ng Russia yung ibang mga territories. Kasi syempre kung kung hindi sila magre-resist, who would stop Russia from also conquering them, 'di ba? Ganun ang siyempre mindset nun At the same time, si Russia naman gusto niya aggression, 'di ba? Gusto niya makuha yung mga lugar na sa tingin nila kakampi nila. Siyempre doon nagkakaroon ng friction, doon nagkakaroon ng opposition against themselves, 'di ba? Or let's say sa West Philippine Sea, 'di ba? Ang sinasabi ng China may 9 dash line. Tayo kini-claim natin, ba't nyo kini-claim yung 9 dash line? O, wala kayong historical and historical right to conquer that, 'di ba? And 'di ba, ang ginawa ng Philippines para lang magkaroon ng talagang say, dinaan nila sa PCA, which is one of the mechanisms that were discussed later on. But look at what's happening right now. The defensiveness or the opposition among China and the Philippines as to the West Philippine Sea, they are still having this opposition or defensiveness. So, syempre, ang dami ng mga issue expansions, 'di ba? From the opposition, magkakaroon ka na ng issue expansion. So, syempre, anong gagawin sa issue expansion? Di magpipitik-pitikan na kayo, 'di ba? Nagpapatrol-patrol yung Chinese Coast Guard, nagbo-bombard ng mga water cannon, 'di ba? In order for Philippines to get baited, 'di ba? Yung mga ganong bagay. Yun yung mga nangyayari ngayon. So the issue now is it expands and expands kasi syempre kada atake ng China magdi-diplomatic protest or note verbal ang Pilipinas, tapos sasagot-sagot din naman yung Chinese embassy, 'di ba? Yun yung mga nangyayari. 'Di ba? So instead yung simulang nag-oppose ka, nag-expand na yung issue mo, okay? Tapos magkakaroon ng polarization. So polarization, hindi na kayo magkasundo, 'di ba? To the point that, well, hindi na natin kung ano mangyayari. Either merong magmi-mediate para magkasundo kayo or magyera kayo, 'di ba? So yun. Then of course, after there was war or there is a peace treaty, syempre hindi naman maiiwasan. Of course, this is a cruel world that we're living in. Well, merong pa ring magkakaroon pa rin ng dahilan para magkaroon ka ulit ng problema, 'di ba? Minsan nga may mga bagay hindi akala nyo chill na kayo tapos biglang magkakaproblema ulit kayo, 'di ba? The cycle goes on and on again. And that's the reality of life. And in so far as international relations is concerned, that's also true, 'di ba? That's also the point there, okay? So hindi maiiwasan yung conflict. It's always there. It exists. in our world we live in, we do not live in a utopia or in a vacuum that everyone's happy, di ba? Or everyone's, okay lang. There would always be a struggle, okay? There will be always be a struggle if they felt that any system or any view or any conflict would need to have a set. There is always a need that there's going to be any conflict, and that any conflict there is a requirement or there is a necessity for it to be settled, okay? All right. So disputes between nations. Okay. So when does a dispute exist between nations? So when one state claims that another state could have behaved in a certain manner, and that claim is rejected by the latter. So that's the definition of Hans Kelsen when it comes to a dispute. So then an international dispute is an actual disagreement of states regarding the conduct to be undertaken by one of them for the protection or vindication of the interest of another. So one good example, of course, the current disputes that you can see right now is, example, we have the war between Russia and Ukraine. Here domestically, well, it is not yet war, okay, but we don't know where it will escalate, diba? We don't know, but we have now what's happening now in the West Philippine Sea, okay? So we have this international disputes that is still continuing despite, of course, there is a decision, okay? Then okay, so what are the types of disputes? So disputes in so far as international law or international relations is concerned, it can be legal or it can be political. So it can be legal when it involves justiciable rights based on law or fact susceptible of adjudication by a judicial or arbitral tribunal. So example of this would be treaty interpretations, ascertainment of boundaries, or territorial claims. So of course it also includes decisions of tribunals, because that would include also in this concept of a legal type of dispute. Okay, so example, the recent Philippines versus China ruling, or some of the cases that we discussed in the course of studying PIL, like US versus Nicaragua, ICJ decisions like the North Sea case, yung Corfu Channel case. These are examples of course these are legal in a sense that there are arguments already that need to have the intervention. We have to call on international tribunals to settle the disputes. Okay, then we have political disputes. So political disputes, well, they cannot be decided by legal processes, because, well, the nature of political, even in our concept of politics, that's why I always want you to distinguish between politics or political science and political law, because the law would always create that set of rules, okay, whether it's in the international or national law sphere. But of course, when we speak of political science, of course, that's the general nature. But when we talk of politics by itself, it's something which goes beyond the law. It also goes beyond what are the standards in the books, ba? It refers to more of personal or people-based interactions, okay? So this cannot be decided by legal processes. That, of course, the conflict arose from the animosities of their mutual attitudes rather from the antagonism of legal rights. So, for example, discrimination of aliens by unjust municipal immigration laws of one state, or to the protest and objection of the other state. So, ano yung mga pwede nating maging example? Well, Israel and Palestine. Of course, we have discussed about recognition of states. Well, both had arguments. Palestine wants most of the current states in the UN to recognize them. Uh, Israel is also doing their part not to recognize the Palestine state, okay? Yun kasi right now, kasi alam ko representation lang sa UN yan, but they're not yet quote unquote recognized insofar as recognition. But note that recognition, as we have discussed before, there is no hard and fast rule on recognition, eh. 'Di ba? Pwedeng ang implied yan, pwedeng express, eh. Of course, syempre advantageous kung expressed, 'di ba? But of course, we're talking about legalities on recognition, eh. But the problem with Israel and Palestine is more political, because of course of course, you would hear Palestine and Israel jabbing legalities. Like, for example, Israel would jab at the point that they're just doing their self-defense. They're just, yun na sinasabi nila, nagsa-self-defense sila kasi yung Gaza, nagiging hotbed naman din ng terrorist, di ba? Yun yung kiniklaim nila, that laging lang suicide bombers lagi sa Israel. They're just doing quote-unquote this concept of self-defense. Okay? Yun ang katwiran nila eh. Parang ganun yung dating ni Netanyahu eh, na is just doing it for the self-preservation of the Israeli state, di ba? If you're going to look at it in a much wider view, it's getting political because note that, well, Palestine naman, in a sense, especially some of their leaders there and some groups, they wanted Israel to be wiped out from the Middle East, diba? So of course, if you're going to look at it at another angle, Israel it's really a political character, not only political, it's a geopolitical issue because there are still Arabs who do not want Israel to stay there at the Middle East. Of course, Israel is trying its damn best to stay there because they're already in their portion of the land where they're occupying, diba? And the politics of the nation has already changed. Note that when Israel was independent in 1948, a lot of nations do not want them, diba? But some of those Arab states, they already brokered peace, like Egypt, like Jordan, okay? They already have truces. But there are some states like Iran and of course some non-state actors but can influence something, like for example terrorist groups like Hamas that are staying in Gaza, okay? They're staying in Gaza, well, because that's their base of operations. We cannot do anything about. They cannot go to the West Bank because of course Jordan would oppose. They already have a treaty there. Gaza is a little bit wild card eh. So the issue now is not just legal. It's already political in nature because it goes deep eh. It goes between the hatred or the animosity among the people. Diba? Yun ang nangyayari. That's the reality. And of course, most of kanya-kanyang diskarte na rin si Israel. Syempre si Israel, they're going to insist that they're doing self-defense. Of course, the Palestinians right now are also doing their own way of surviving. Like, syempre, humihingi sila ng recognition which I think they can do so naman eh, di ba? Pero humingi sila ng recognition. Pag nanonood kayo na YouTube, daming humihingi ng donations to help Gaza, di ba? They're also doing their part, di ba? It's a battle between battle eh. But of course, we don't know where this conflict will end. I hope that there's going to be a peaceful solution, okay? It's just that, of course, Israel is just wiping out all its enemies. Yung nga lang, di ba? I can't blame them. But the issue now is, of course, marami na apektuhan. This is actually the problem with war, di ba? So, sabi nga dati ni I forgot if this is General Sherman nung American Civil War. War is always cruel. Whether you paint a different picture of it, war is always cruel. And sometimes it's unthinkable that although we know or understand the legal issues surrounding any armed conflict, di ba, or any dispute in that matter, hindi mo pa rin maiiwasan yung political issues or political nature of these kinds of disputes, okay? All right, then settlement in disputes in general. So okay, so usually this is tiered step process. So syempre, first we have to identify the situation. So example, kung may conflict, ano yung magiging solution natin? So usually the solution is you're going to have an avoidance of conflict and diplomatic channel. So example, sa Philippines versus China, no una nag-iiringan, nagpapadalaan sila ng mga diplomatic protest or note verbals among the legatees or yung mga ambassadors, di ba? So usually that's the situation. Actually hanggang ngayon naman nasa situation pa rin. I mean, Natapos na tayo sa situation na yon. So, di ba, ano ang ginawa natin? So, pumunta tayo sa amicable methods. So, di ba, anong ginawa? Nag-file tayo ng kaso sa PCA. Now, of course, maraming kinds of amicable methods yan. Or, kasi, well, just a side comment here, of course, insofar as academic teaching, academic lecture is concerned, uh, you have this alternative dispute resolution. So more or less yung principles ng ADR or na alternative dispute resolution, these are adapted coming from these amicable methods from international law. Okay? So yung just to tone down a bit. So yung nakikita nyo sa korte, 'di ba? Pag nasa regular courts kayo, merong PMC, 'di ba, yung Philippine Mediation Center. Yung concept ng mediation and conciliation, this is more or less a microcosm or an example of how these amicable methods would apply or would be actualized. Okay? Kasi example, may conflict ka na sa korte, susubukan nilang pagkasunduin kayo, mag-settle kayo or mag-compromise. So usually this came from international law. So we have this amicable method. So ano ba example ng amicable method? So pwede negotiation, inquiry, good offices, mediation, conciliation, arbitration, judicial settlement, and resort to regional international organizations. Tapos pag lahat hindi naman na ay ganun pa rin ang sitwasyon, sometimes the states go to hostile methods. So, pwede siyang retortions, pwede siyang reprisals, pwede siyang interventions. Okay? Ngayon, if all else fails, tas bigla na lang may sumiklab na lang dyan, well, the usual end result would always be this unthinkable concept of a war. Diba? So, gera ang ending. Oh. Tapos magkakaroon na ulit sila ng kasunduan pag eventually everyone killed each other or canceled each other out. Diba? Yun ang mangyayari. Okay? Of course, now isa-isayin natin. So, situation stage. So, a situation stage is the initial state of a dispute. So, states as practicable as possible would at all means avoid the escalation of conflict. So, diplomatic channels between states should be open for dialogue in order to maintain and keep the peace. Okay? Then we have amicable methods. So, okay. So, of course, this would be ways in order to, at least baka magkasundo sa level na to, 'di ba? Pag nagkasundo, okay na, 'di ba? So, of course, the first one is negotiation. So, the initial steps to discussion is between two disputing states. The discussion of the parties' conflicting claims with a view to adjust an orderly conflict or just an orderly adjustment. So, the disputing parties themselves would attempt to resolve their differences informally and directly. Okay. So, ano ang maaring disadvantage ng negotiation? So, depende kung paano ka nag-negotiate. Kasi, syempre, pag nag-negotiate ka, you should have an open mind. I think that's the criteria. Why? Because you can also use negotiation din naman as a step to actually, insist the conflict. You know why? Kasi may two kinds of negotiation kasi. We have positional negotiation, and I think this is also true in businesses, di ba? True to sa businesses, it also true in a large scale representation as an international conflict. So, pag nag-negotiate kasi ka, dalawa lang naman yun. Pwede kang maging positional, pwede kang facilitative. When you speak of positional, you just stick on the principles that you want, hindi ka gagalaw. So, ibig sabihin, I'm not going to allow any agreement except the one that I want. Yun ang nangyayari. Positional ka. Okay? Positional ka. Of course, you have to contrast it with facilitated negotiation. Pag facilitated negotiation, nag-i-issue expansions kayo, but in a sense that you're looking for alternatives. Diba? May tinatawag na best alternative to an tawag doon to an amicable settlement na tinatawag eh. So, hahanapin nyo yun. Ang problem lang kasi usually sa facilitated negotiation, matagal talaga. Talagang depende sa complexity ng problem. Pagtsatsagaan mo talagang i-discuss hanggat magkasundo kayo. Okay? Now, most of the time, especially sa korte, we go for positional. Kasi syempre, ang sasabihin ng kliyente mo, hindi, ito gusto ko i-demand, ito gusto ko moral damages, ito gusto ko exemplary damages, 'di ba? Dun sa court level eh. Ganun din syempre sa international relations. Syempre, for example, China. Uh, Although tapos na tayo, nandun na tayo sa reprisal mode dun eh. Nasa ano na tayo dun eh, nasa tawag dito. Kung sa China, nandun tayo sa hostile methods, phase na tayo dun eh. Pero 'di ba? Let's assume sa China. Syempre, yung China would still insist on the 9-dash line, 'di ba? Syempre, kapag nakipag-negotiate sila, i-insist nila yung 9-dash line, 'di ba? Yun lang naman gagawin nila pag nag-positional negotiation ka. So, pag gano'n, 'di ba? Pag nag-positional negotiation ka, you remove the chance of really seriously discussing the incident, 'di ba? Or the issue, 'di ba? So, hindi talaga nagiging ano ka, hindi nagiging responsive, 'di ba? 'Yun ang nangyari. So, dahil hindi responsive, tuloy doon sa susunod na remedies, 'di ba? So, okay. So, that's your negotiation, okay? Then inquiry. So, an inquiry is an initial investigation made as to the origin and root causes of the dispute on the theory that the findings obtained thereafter shall contribute to the solution of the disputes. Then, of course, we have good graces. A third party attempts the two disputing states to discuss issues in contention and arrive at the settlement of claims. So practically ito yung ginagawa ni Trump ngayon with respect to Ukraine and Russia, although of course nandun pa rin, may giyera pa rin, di ba? But yun yung ina-attempt niya, di ba? He wanted to he wants to act as a third party, di ba? To attempt the settlement between two disputing states, okay? All right, then mediation. So mediation and conciliation. Okay, so discuss ko tong both. Okay, actually similar to. May difference lang ng konti sa mechanics. Okay, kaya napansin niyo sa PMC, di ba? Sa Philippine Mediation Center, they use sa dito sa courts natin, they use both mediation and conciliation depending on depending on the mediator that you appeared. Okay, o sino yung nag-appear kasi well, of course, in-assume ko lahat naman sila trained ng PMC. Pero syempre, may skills yan eh. I still believe may mga skills yan eh. So ano ba difference ng mediation and conciliation? So of course, mediation is a form of a dispute settlement, utilizing a neutral third party to facilitate and help in negotiating a settlement among disputing parties. Conciliation, on the other hand, is same with the mediation, but mostly the third party will have the active facilitation, as the third party may seek concessions among disputing parties. So, feelings of the parties are taken into account as reframing party statements that the third party has the technical expertise and may provide for the outcome or decision among disputing parties. So, ano ibig sabihin nito? Pag pure mediation kasi, and of course, itong mediation and conciliation, may mga training to This is, aside sa PMC, if you want to be an international mediator or conciliator, there's a training for this, 'di ba? May ganyan si Sai Arbe. Actually, I have one hindi ko lang binay kasi malaki, dollars eh. dollars yung annual fee. Okay? Pero pwede mong i-register yan. Example, usually that happens with the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators, si SIARB, okay? So meron silang mga mediation, conciliation, arbitration, certifications, okay? Dollars yung annual renewal nun eh. Pero ang ganda yung training doon as in the training that is detailed. So in order to understand this, so yung mediation, andun ka lang yung third party, yung mediator. But you let the people talk to each other. You just want them to lead what they want to discuss, but you cannot put inputs. You cannot have suggestions. Pabayaan mo lang silang mag-clear out of the air between themselves. Ipapafacilitate mo lang ng konti pero hindi ka magi-input. Okay? Sa conciliation, para na siya mediation, but more or less si conciliator, they can interject, they can make suggestions na malay mo yung two parties would agree upon. Okay? Yun ang nangyayari. Ano example ng conciliation type? Example sa PMC, sa Philippine Mediation Center, or kahit sa barangay na lang, 'di ba? 'Di ba? Nagme-mediation sa barangay, 'di ba, bago mag-issue ng ng certification si Lupon. Di ba, usually anong ginagawa minsan ni Lupon? Siyempre, makikinig muna doon sa sentimiento. Note na yung mga PMC at saka sa Lupon, they're technically medcon, mga mediation at saka conciliation person sila. So, kinukombine nila yung mediation at sa conciliation. Usually, ang example ng conciliation tactics dyan is, example, ano ba hinihingi mo? 1M. Siyempre, tatanungin yung respondent, kaya mo yung 1M? Pwede bang masyado mataas yung 1M eh. Pwedeng na lang. Pwedeng 300,000 na lang. Siyempre, iinis yung mainis siyempre yung nagreklamo. Ayoko lang ng 300,000, di ba? Tapos anong gagawin ni nung Lupon or nung mediator, conciliator? O sige, para magkasundo kayo, isuggest ko na lang, mag-meet kayo in the middle. Pwede bang 600 na lang? Dahil syempre may back and forth yun hanggang, pero 'di ba, nag-input si Medcon, 'di ba? Siya nag-input noon. 'Di ba? Sinuggest niya, hindi naman naisip ng dalawa yun eh. Pero syempre, naisip syempre nung yun. Tapos syempre mag-explain din si Medco na masyado naman talaga mataas yung 1 million, blah 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 blah. Pwede ka naman bumaba. At the same time, sasabihin niya doon sa kabila, masyado naman barat yung yung 300,000 na hinihingi mo. Taasan mo naman para naman wala ka sense of responsibility, blah 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 blah. Actually, medyo ganun yun, pero ganun yung nangyayari dun sa parang discussion, 'di ba, na syempre pag mediation, sila pinag-uusap mo. That's why medcon siya, kasi sometimes there is a need for the mediator, conciliator to intervene na para at least magkaroon ka ng agreement, 'di ba? Paano mo magkasundo sila, 'di ba? Instead of them duking out in court, 'di ba? Magkaroon ng Pyrrhic victory ka diyan eh, 'di ba? 'Yun ang problem diyan eh. Magkaroon ka ng Pyrrhic victory, binabayaran ka na, 'di ba? Hangga't maaari, that's the reason why we have mediation and conciliation, kasi number one, malay mo, itinuloy mo sa kaso, pero nanalo ka, papel yung desisyon mo. Di ba? O, nanalo, sabi nga ng boss ko dati, nanalo ka nga sa kaso, talo ka sa embargo. O. Also, you also save two relationships eh, pag nag-mediation conciliation ka. Siyempre, pag nagkasundo kayo, malay mo, talagang friends na ulit sila, di ba? Or magkaroon ulit sila ng business dealing with each other. Diba? Kasi ganoon naman ang business. Kita nyo na nga lang sa politiko, di ba? O, yun nakikita natin ngayon, di ba? Na magkakalaban ngayon, di natin alam, after 6 months, magkakampi na rin yung mga yan, di ba? Ganun eh. You have to preserve the relationships eh, di ba? That's also one thing about mediation conciliation, because you'll never know eh, di ba? You'll never know that yung pwede mo makalaban, instead na mag-hostile methods kayo, malay nyo, magkausap ulit kayo, magkaroon ulit kayo ng deal, di ba? Because that's something which is good for business eh, di ba? That is why itong mediation, conciliation, of course, this is more on high stakes eh. Pero this is more commonly, na nakikita nyo, hindi lang, sinasay ko lang sa PMC, pero commonly dun sa mga international dispute mechanisms, like sa mga arbitration, di ba? May mga ino-offer din silang conciliation mediation doon, yung mga ad hoc institutions, 'di ba? They also have this instead of going to arbitration. Okay? All right. So that's your medcon. So pinusubukan nila magkasundo. Now, how about arbitration? Okay? Sa arbitration, magkakaroon ka na arbitral tribunal. Pero tandaan natin, yung arbitral tribunal, hindi create yan ng batas. Okay? Create yan ng dalawang nag-negotiate. Example, usual ito sa mga treaty. So, kung naalala, I don't know kung naalala nyo to, naalala nyo yung kaso ng Piatco, di ba? Yung sa Manila International Airport Authority. Years ago, may have heard that, or you may have encountered it in, hindi ko na dinidiscuss sa Consti yun, pero I think you might have heard it, di ba? Yung MIA, yung nagkaroon sila ng contractor, hindi sila nagbayad. Basta nagkaroon ng dispute. Ang ginawa nung foreign contractor, dahil may arbitration clause doon sa kanilang agreement, kinasuhan nila na arbitration sa ICSID, sa ano yan, sa International Convention for ano yun for the settlement of international disputes. Eh yun, kailangan party ka lang sa ano kailangan party ka lang doon sa treaty Okay? So, umakyat sila sa International Tribunal and inadvertently. Okay, this was the time na medyo inosente pa even ng OSG sa mga ngayon develop na ang OSG diyan meron na silang division for doing this Pero this was the time na parang first time na parang okay, surprise, may ano pala, pwede ko palang dalhin sa International Tribunal, okay? Kasi nag-agree ka sa isang arbitration clause. Example, nagkasundo, kahit naman dito locally pwede yan kasi may mga dalawa naman ang arbitration arm natin Meron na tayong PDRCI, meron na rin tayong isa si PCC yata isa Basta may dalawa na nga arbitration clause kasi ilalagay mo doon kahit dito sa mga local contracts. Example, kung trip nyo, wag lang trip-trip. Explain ko kung bakit wag lang trip-trip. Example, nakita nyo, alam ko naman marami sa inyo paggagawa ng kontrata, nagka-copy pasta kayo sa sa internet, 'di ba? Sa iba minsan hindi lang nag-iisip, 'di ba? Na parang uy, maganda tong clause na to, isingit na sa nagsingit na arbitration clause. Pinapirmahan mo ngayon. Ano mangyayari pag pinapirma mo? Syempre, 'di ba? Basic contracts, law between the parties. Ganon din yung point na arbitration. Pag binirma mo yung kontrata, nilagay mo arbitration clause doon, nag-agree kayo. Nag-agree kayo na mag-arbitrate. Ang twist kasi sa arbitration clause, akala nyo makakatipid kayo sa arbitration clause. Tandaan nyo, pag naglagay ka ng arbitration clause, example, kahit dito locally, pinatago yung PDRCI or SOSI kayo, sa Singapore International Arbitration Commission kayo nagpa-institutional arbitration. Problem kasi diyan, hindi naman mag-hear yung PDRCI or yung SAYAC ng kaso kung hindi kayo magbabayad. Kasi nga nag-agree kayo na magse-settle kayo ng dispute between each other. 'Di ba? So ang obligation noon pag may nagreklamo, example, hindi na kayo nagkasundo. Nareklamo ka ngayon sa arbitration, okay? Ang gagawin ng magpa-file, gagastos. Gagastos. Siyempre, bingan siya ng filing fee to the tune of dollars yon. Tapos, siyempre, babayaran mo yung, ang usapan doon, babayaran mo in advance nung magrereklamo. At siyempre, subject to the sharing of the other party, di ba? Subject to the sharing of the other party, babayaran mo yung fees ng mag-arb. Usually, 3 arbitrator, so bayaran mo yung, hindi naman syempre mag-arbitrate yung mga yung kung walang legal, walang professional fees. Syempre, aside sa professional fees, dahil dinala mo sa PDRCI, syempre, meron din silang mga fees to operate, di ba? So, sisingilin din nila yon. Tapos, syempre, ang usapan doon, dahil nag-usap kayo, mag-share din yung kabila. So, kung tutusin, na double-edged sword yung dalawang parties kung isipin ninyo. Pero they have to do it for settlement, di ba? So lesson, wag kayong lagay ng kala nyo cute yung di ba? Cute yung provision Ang cute nito Lagay natin sa kontrata, yung pala, iba pala consequence, di ba? Kailan ba to? Nung 2 weeks ago, may actually OJT contract to siguro tinitrain nila para sa business org nila na subject. Pinaggawa sila ng parang partnership. Tapos gusto pa notarized, 'di ba? Kaya nga yun nga ang doon yun nga yung point. Kaya nga napunta tayo. Kaya tong notarization sa Senado, natatawa lang ako Gusto nung parang professor ipa-notarize. Hindi binasa ko naman. Syempre alam mo naman student yun 'di ba? Syempre yung mga kontrata pro forma. Nung binabasa ko, okay din to Ang sabi dun sa kontrata, pag nagkaroon ng problema dun kasi parang lumalabas sharing sila, lima sila mag-partner. Okay, kahit sabihin na natin joke to o hindi o sabi daw seryoso daw para raw matuto daw Pero sabihin na natin nagkaroon sila ng conflict, okay? Kahit sabihin na natin na classroom malay mo, 'di ba? Malay mo magkagrupo, nagkaaway-away kasi pinag-awayan nila jowa, 'di ba? Ganoon naman talaga, 'di ba? Kailangan pag-awayan ng bay, 'di ba? Sabihin natin nag-away-away sila doon, 'di ba? Tapos nadamay ngayon yung ano, yung business kuno nila. Nakalagay doon sa kontrata, hindi sila makakapag-settle unless kung kukuha sila ng independent mediator. Sa loob-loob ko, naintindihan ba 'tong mga bata na 'to? Ano ibig sabihin nitong ano? Alam mo yung natatawa ko, gets ko naman yun eh. Gusto nilang isama sa curriculum nila. Pero haven't hindi ba nila naiisip minsan yung implication na hindi ibig sabihin lang na nakakita kayo na, para lumalabas nakakita kayo, ganito dapat yung format natin. Pero ang tanong is, naiintindihan niyo ba ano yung format na yan? 'Di ba? So yun yung tanong ko lang naman diyan eh. Naglagay ba naman ng mag-hire ng mediator, di daw dadaan ng court. Parang okay, naiintindihan man ng estudyante to, 'di ba? Wala lang, yun lang na ano ko lang na ginawa ko, ni-refuse ko inauthorize kasi number one, pag ninotorize ko yun, kahit sabihin na nating para lang, ayun ang hirap kasi minsan pag notaryo, iniisip nila formality lang yung notaryo. Kita mo, nangyari sa Senado recently. Yun ang problema kasi, iniisip lang nila, yung notaryo, uutusan mo lang, papaselyuhan mo. Sasabihin nila public document. Hindi naman ganun yun eh. It's not like that. May importance sa notaryo. Yung ginawa ko, tinanggihan ko. Sa loob-loob ko lang. Approve ko yan, nakakahiya naman, putres na yan, naka-ano naman ako, ang tawag dito. Isipin mo, notaryohan ko, accredited tribunal secretary ako ng Hong Kong International Arbitration Center. Tsaka trained arbitrator ako ng PDRCI. Sige nga, aprobahan ko ba yun? Siyempre hindi, no? Para namang, kahit sabihin na natin, yung hirap nung minsan that's the problem that they underappreciate. Akala nila notaryo, taga-selyo lang ng ng nagbebenta ng saging sa likod ng City Hall eh, 'di ba? Kahit naka-record to, ipo-post ko to, totoo naman eh, 'di ba? Anyways, so yun yung point ni yun yung point ni arbitration. You need to hire someone, 'di ba? To settle your disputes, 'di ba? So yun yung point ni arbitration, all right? Of course, what would be the binding effects of course, ito. So, of course, in mediation and conciliation, the suggestion recommendation is not binding between the disputing parties. But, syempre, pag nagkasundo sila, di masaya, di ba? Yun naman ang point niyan eh, di ba? In arbitration, the arbitral tribunal issues an order or award judicial in nature that the same is binding upon the parties in dispute. Mas formal nga lang to, di ba? Example, di ba, Philippines versus China. Formal kasi may desisyon. 'Di ba? May order or may decision. Of course, syempre, subject pa rin yan kung siseryosohin mo, 'di ba? It's still about the parties. Okay? Ganun naman sa mediation eh. Although it's not binding, but if you agree, 'di ba? Move on na kayo, 'di ba? Yun naman masaya doon. Move on na kayo. Importante lang naman nagkasundo na. Ngayon, usually dito sa atin, sa Pilipinas, kahit sa PMC or kahit sa NLRC, usually sa labor, nangyari to. Usually hindi naman papayag na ma-settle lahat kung walang quit claim. So kailangan magpirma ng quit claim yung parehong parties. Yun naman ang usually nangyayari dito sa atin. You need to file a quit claim, all right? Okay. Siyempre pag quit claim, 'di ba? Nakalagay naman na doon na wala na, parang pino-forgive mo na. Hindi ka na magkakaso ng kahit ano-ano, di ba? Yun ang point naman ng quit claim eh, okay? Of course, then we have judicial settlement. So judicial settlement, so this is similar to arbitration, but this is done by an existing or permanent body for the compulsory settlement of disputes. So example din, alam mo sa ICJ o sa ITLOS, okay? Mga tribunals yan to determine once and for all yung mga disputes. Then of course, action by regional organizations, pwede rin yan. So the two parties seek the help of regional organizations which they are members to place the solution of the dispute to their aid or participation. Okay? Usually, paano ba mga groups? So ASEAN, although ASEAN naman more on gusto nila consensus sila pag nag-agree sila. That's why criticize din yung ASEAN eh. But there are some regional organizations, especially sa Europe, active to. Yung mga Council of Europe, yan yung mga organization eh, 'di ba? They can broker, settlements between member states among them, okay? Then, syempre kung dumaan na kayo sa lahat ng mga peaceful means, wala tayong choice. Minsan, pumunta tayo sa point na kailangan ng hostile methods na o retaliation. So, usually, tatlo lang naman yan. So, we have retortion. So, retortion is a type of retaliation where the act's complaint of do not constitute a legal ground of offense, but rather a series of unfriendly acts indirectly hurtful to the other state. So, for example, suspension ng diplomatic relations, boycott, imposition ng higher traffic. So, usually, ito yung mga ways na parang i-antagonize mo yung kabilang kausap mo, 'di ba? So, 'di ba, naalala niyo recently, 'di ba si Trump nag-impose ng tariffs. Although kung babasahin yung lahat ng tariffs, although yung tariffs ganito yung percentage sa ibang bansa. Siyempre sa China, napapansin niyo dahil mainit si US sa China, siya yung pinakamataas ng tariffs. Diba? So that's depending on how you're going to argue it, but it can be considered, of course, sa point of view ng Chinese, that can be a kind of retortion. Diba? Oh. Then we have reprisals. So an act of self-help on the part of the injured state responding after an unsatisfied demand to an act contrary to the international law on the part of the offending state. So, usually, pwedeng medyo armed ang dating ng reprisals. Diba? So, gaganti sila, 'di ba? Ganun ang dating. Okay, then we have intervention. So an act of a state to interfere into the domestic and foreign affairs of another to the employment of threat or force. So, 'di ba kung naalala niyo yung discussion natin sa Drago Doctrine, 'di ba? So, 'di ba, yung sa Drago Doctrine, gusto nung ibang mga states i-blockade si Venezuela kasi hindi daw nagbabayad ng utang. Okay, so pwede silang doon, yun ang ginagawa nila, 'di ba? Sabi, nag-doctrine sila hindi pa pwede, nagsabi yung Venezuelan minister. Kaya nga si Drago yun eh. So sabi ni Drago, hindi kayo pwedeng hindi niyo pwede kaming ganyanin kasi outside of the ambit. Kaya nga nagkaroon because of the Drago Doctrine, okay? Kaya nagkaroon ng Hague Convention of 1907. Okay? So yung dalawa yun, may tungkol sa war tapos may tungkol yan sa settlement of disputes. So yung Hague Convention of 1907 is the precursor of all of your arbitration institutions here. Yun yung parang niya eh. Yun yung parang mother law niya eh. Okay? Si Hague Convention of 1907. Okay? Because of this Drago Doctrine na gusto nilang mag-intervene para magbayad ng utang, pero syempre hindi pumayag syempre yung Venezuela. So kasi syempre iba naman yung business from the political landscape eh, 'di ba? So nagkaroon ng hiwalay na settlement dispute, okay? Now what would be the role of the United Nations if there is this problem? So of course in the event that none of the mentioned method would solve the dispute, the UN may ask to decide on its own authority to settle the dispute addressed principally to the Security Council. So what would be the jurisdiction of the Security Council here? So it would be all disputes affecting international peace and security under Articles 24 and 34 of the UN Charter. Then disputes although falling under the domestic jurisdiction clause have been submitted by the parties for settlement. So this is according to your Article 2 of your UN Charter. Okay? Then of course, paano yan? So paano mangyayari pag meron ka settlement of dispute sa UN Security? So first one, you have preventive measures. So you enter into an amicable settle by agreement of the parties or upon referral to the IC. Kasi example, pwede mag-file ka sa ICJ, pwede lang i-refer sa Security Council kung there is a necessity. Malay mo magkasundo sa Security Council eh, 'di ba? Now, if measures are unavailed, the Security Council shall recommend such actual terms of settlement considered as appropriate for international peace and security. Okay? Tapos, paano kung na-reject yung settlement? So, preventive actions can be done like interruption of economic relations. Then, there can be enforcement action. So it can be a blockade, it can be demonstrations. So these are ways if there would be a rejection of such settlement. Okay? So that is it for for international dispute settlement. Okay?